welcome back. Former world champion Tyson Gay and former 100 meters world record holder Asafa Powell were both confirmed on Sunday that they had failed drug tests. Here's CCTV's Kofam Renje with the details.
30-year-old Tyson Gay was told by the U.S. anti-doping agency on Friday that his A sample from an out-of-competition test in May was positive. The sprinter, a 4x100-meter relay silver medalist at last year's London Olympics, tested positive for oxylofrine. Gay, who is the fastest man in 2013, has already withdrawn from next month's World Championships in Moscow. Tyson Gay admitted he'll be responsible for whatever punishment comes his way. Still in the world of athletics, former 100 meters world record holder Asafa Powell and Jamaican teammate Sharon Simpson each tested positive for banned stimulants, according to their agent. Paul Doyle told the AP that they also tested positive for the stimulant at the Jamaican Championships and were just recently notified. Powell helped the Jamaicans to the 400-meter relay gold medal at the 2008 Olympics and was the last man to hold the individual 100-meter record before fellow countryman Usain Bolt broke it earlier that year. Simpson won Olympic gold in the women's 400 meters relay in 2004 and silver in 2012, along with an individual silver in the 100 meters in 2008. The two failed drug tests just a month after another Jamaican Olympic champion, Veronica Campbell-Brown, tested positive for a banned diuretic. Fellow Jamaican Sharon Simpson failed a drug test at the same event. Kofam Renje, CCTV.
Right, on to the latest details from the COSAFA football tournament. Lesotho apparently has caused quite the major upset. With the details from Zambia, here's CCTV Celestine Karine.
A week into the 2013 COSAFA competition, Zambia finally got their turn on the pitch on Sunday. All focus on the Nkana Stadium in the Copperbelt town of Kitwe for the second quarter-final doubleheader. Chipolopolo would begin their campaign in the second match against Mozambique, but first it was Group B winners Lesotho taking on Angola. Lesotho became the third team to reach the semi-finals after an upset over Angola. They beat an under-23 Angola side 5-3 on penalties after the match ended 1-0 in regulation time.
For the first 15 minutes, we could see that the game is there for us. And yes, we did concede a goal, but we kept our discipline and kept probing forward. And at the end of the day, I think we deserve to be on the front line.
Unfortunately, the match was decided on penalties, and when it comes to that, you can't do much. I congratulate my players because they brought a young side. Some are 18 years old, and they put up a good fight, but lacked good match preparation against a team that has played 3 times so far in the tournament, and on a pitch which they played on during the group stage. Well, they had an advantage.
Hosts Zambia, who are gunning for a record equaling 4th title in the competition, fielded an unknown squad as Haverena looks to give the Chipolopolo more options as they prepare for various international assignments. Cheered on by a capacity crowd, they did not disappoint, winning 3-1.
It was a big question mark before this tournament because we started this team three months ago, so to be ready for this competition, and I think they did very well on the difficult pitch, very hard. I remember in 2008 we lost the semi-final in South Africa against South Africa. So we have to take the revenge and to get the qualification for the final.
My player, they start the game a little bit nervous. I don't know why. Because I told them they have to leave all the pressure for the coach outside. They have to play without the pressure.
Lesotho, who are now carrying the tag of giant killers after the upset, face reigning champions Zimbabwe in Wednesday's semi-final, with South Africa and Zambia meeting in the second encounter. Celestine Karone, CCTV, Kitwe, Zambia.
Now to an exclusive interview with John Smith, the former Springbok World Cup winning captain and chief executive at South African rugby franchise the Sharks. He admits a lot more needs to be done to bring greater racial equality into South African rugby, and he says it will be one of his top priorities as he takes on this new role.
Durban's Kings Park Stadium, or the Shark Tank as it is known, has witnessed many a great game of rugby. One person who has played in a number of them is this man, John Smith, the highly decorated former Springbok and Sharks captain, who has only recently hung up his boots. But he's taken his renowned leadership skills straight from the pitch to the boardroom after his appointment as Sharks chief executive.
A huge challenge, and it's been one that's been exciting as well. I think the first thing was getting used to wearing proper shoes every day and lasting more than 1.5 hours at a time. And then a huge amount of challenges, a lot of things to get on top of. And in an environment like this, I found there is certainly scope to recreate the team effect and the team environment amongst staff and who have a similar goal.
Smith has not been slow to make his mark at Kings Park. Coach John Plumtree has already departed, but he says he won't be making wholesale changes.
I'm not a stamping of authority type of person. It's not really a way in which I wanted to lead or ever did lead. I wanted to make a change in terms of the coaching structures and freshen things up. I just believe that we have, and do believe that we have, an incredibly powerful squad that has had a lot of the same for a long time. And to regenerate them, I needed to try and do something different.
Smith, who led South Africa to World Cup victory in 2007, understands more than most the issues of transformation in the country. Despite some significant strides in getting greater representation in the Springbok team, the squad remains largely white, something Smith is now in a position to help bring change.
The first questions that I asked were about how things are happening from a transformation point of view, because it's important for us to realize that the demographic of our country is the one that you want to see in the people that are watching the game. So it is a massive issue, and it always will be. It'll be a high priority on every single agenda that I ever make going forward while I'm CEO here.
The Sharks, like the rest of the South Africa franchises, have struggled in recent years to keep their best players, with many lured overseas for greater riches. But that situation makes it impossible for the South Africa teams to build for the future.
Sometimes you've just got to understand, you've got to understand your financial model, understand what you can pay your top guys and how many of them you can have and what the depth of your squad can be. Make players understand your business model, and then create some things around that environment that make this team, the Sharks team, not only about what you earn every month, but what you gain as a human being every single month of being a Shark.
Smith may have used his leadership skills on the pitch to great effect, but he knows his new position requires a whole different skill set. But given his rugby achievements, who would bet against him being a success? Dan Williams, CCTV in Durban, South Africa.
Would bet again, John Smith indeed. We'll leave it there for the time being on this edition of Africa Live. Thank you for watching. We'll have more news for you, however, from the continent at 1700 GMT. See you then. I'm Ramanya.